Good day, everybody. Welcome back to Byzantian brewscast. Hello,
Evening.
your host, Evening Governor, Evening Gromit.
Mm.
Your hosts are here and they are ready to chat shit about tabletop games and related things. Welcome. So, how have we been this week?
This week I've invented a shed.
You've
Uh,
invented a shed.
I've I've had I've had some technical difficulties with a new monitor
Uh,
because the seller didn't have speakers in, so that was
oh,
fun.
oh no.
I think we got it sorted now, but it's just yes, I spend money on a new monitor. Not
Yikers.
like that.
Yeah, that's a bit pants.
And then and a stupid aux to aux cable because we don't really use them much anymore.
I like my brain.
That's fun.
My brain didn't go aux as in auxiliary. It went to aux as in aux. It's an aux
I know what I
to
mean.
aux cable, just two aux holding one side of a
To be fair,
cable.
if it was aux tech, I'd just wish it to
Yeah, you
work and
just
it would just do
believe
it.
it would work, and
I'd like that
it
actually.
would. Aux to aux.
It will work. Yeah.
Yeah. Where's aux? Yeah.
Wouldn't cost me anything. It would, yeah. If it worked that way, my old TV wouldn't start working.
You give it like half smash, and it would still function.
Oh yeah, you bet. Ah, so that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, there we are. Okay.
Sorry, I was sipping tea.
Oh, fair enough. I was worried. I keep getting worried the Wi-Fi is going to drop out every other second. Ever since a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Internet-based PTSD. That's fun.
Yeah, well, I've spoken to the
And today was
company,
another
and they're not
running
helpful.
festival.
Well, thank you, Terry.
Yeah,
Hello.
surprise, surprise. And today was another running festival day, so we've been hedgehogging about again. That was nice.
Hey,
Get my exercise in.
did you find you run faster as a
Just
hedgehog?
literally missed the rain by a minute. No, no, I can't spin dash either.
Ah, you need to get the
Tried,
red running shoes.
broke my
That's
back.
what it is. You need the red running shoes. So the theme music goes the
Oh yeah.
whoosh.
Oh, yeah, the brother one, the pink. That's your problem. It's the shitty flute version.
Yeah, just speed
It's
blur
more the Sonic
occurs.
theme rather than the Sonic theme.
Yeah, you get the double boost. A notification come up. You know that sort of thing.
It's no use.
Honestly, what Birmingham Hospital should do,
Wow.
they should like obviously film you running and then like speed up the footage so it looks like you're going faster.
That would be pretty funny. They didn't have to somehow run with those like size 15 shoes on.
Yeah,
Yeah, really, what I'm saying is Sonic should not be able to run.
yeah,
Size of his feet. It's just not happening.
yeah. I don't get how like characters with big shoes run. Like in Kingdom Hearts, they seem like doing this goofier, like really wide
Sora.
step running, just flap, 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 flap,
Like
flap,
he
flap.
walks weird because he's
Yeah,
got
because
like
he has
monster
massive
feet.
shoes. Yeah. And I think it's like Sora and Riku have
Well,
big
I can never
shoes, and then
fix
just
that
like
as well.
nobody else has massive shoes, just Sora and Riku.
It's like that trailer where they put Mario in next to normal sized people.
Oh, fucking Mario Odyssey in
Odyssey. That was really
yeah,
funny.
just like half the height of a normal man, sat next to a businessman. Yeah, this makes
Hmm.
sense. Uh, but yeah, I've just got back from a place called what is it called? Turkish something. It's like Turkish kebab and stuff. Very nice, but like a posh kind of kebab place, not like a
Okay.
greasy kebab place. Not that I'm mocking or knocking greasy kebab
Hmm.
places. Greasy kebab has its place, you know. But this is like a lot fancier. Very, very good.
I love that local place or
Yeah, local place.
further
Yeah,
away.
it's about probably about 10 minutes car drive.
Okay.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So, um, other than that, I haven't really been up to that much this week. Mostly sort of work-related things, beavering away, doing lots of cooking and things like that. So, do we have our tabletop book club for the week?
Okay. I have a new one. I couldn't get an original because it was. I don't know where you could buy this one anymore. Um,
Mm-hmm.
remember when I did talked about was it Mutant Chronicles? Did it a few times.
Yes.
Turns out the company that did that did a fantasy game as well. They did a fantasy game called Chronopia.
Mm-hmm.
It is really. It's kind of similar. We're back in the land of the giant shoulder pads.
Mm-hmm.
So
That
just reopen it. It's
yeah, shoulder
really good read. Yeah.
pads.
I was like, oh, this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Giant shoulder pads. That's how you can tell the age of fantasy fiction. Weirdly,
Uh-huh.
by the size of their shoulder pads, number of spikes as well. Canopy is all about big shoulder pads and big spikes.
Oh.
Um, it sort of reads like reverse Warhammer Fantasy, as in rather than like the Chaos Gods coming into the world, things have gone badly because the old gods have left.
Mm. Interesting.
So it does make me wonder if they were just trying to be not quite Warhammer and they lost. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, they got rid
but
of
their art style's kind of the same,
yeah, the
at least the
dark
same period.
symmetry, the dark symmetry left and things weren't the same after you could flip the map. The inability to flip the map.
Warhammer needs that rule. I want to go to Warhammer World and flip the entire table, or just take the entire game board and just turn it 90 degrees. They'll use it 5 more times.
Rotation. Uh,
Wouldn't help me at all. It would just be really annoying.
mm.
Actually, I think Chronopia's got a bit. Honestly, I think this book's got more edge than Warzone Mutant Chronicles because the
Oh
names are
boy.
really like vintage edge.
Oh.
Like they have like elf cavalry, but these are like heavy metal elves, so they're wearing like plate mail or they're really spiky.
Yeah.
Honestly, hilariously spiky. If I'm honest with you, um, they're right. Their cavalry are called Elven War Killers. I guess they kill war.
They
I'm not sure
kill
in the
war
concept or
in the dark
Elven War Killer.
in the dark sadness of the future. There is only war. You must kill it.
That it's war's fault. Make it go away. It's it is fun though. Like my vintage edge, and this is very much that.
Mm.
Um, the PDF is completely free, by the way.
Ooh.
So before anyone finds out, you should probably pick it up.
Yeah, but
Oh, some of these mods look really nice though. Here's some. I'm not sure if these are official, but this looks like someone tried to do some modern versions of the older minis. They look like the old school Chaos Warriors, which is quite fun.
mm.
Where are you at? There you are. Fixing bits. Oh yeah, have you got around to watching the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari as well?
I haven't. No, I've been very very busy this week, unfortunately, with other things. But it is on my list.
Yeah, that was a thing. 7 seconds when you over.
Psst.
Yeah. I think these like reproductions of the original minis.
Mhm.
I think this is one of the elf factions, but this is like heavy metal elves, not like fancy wood elves.
Oh,
These are very much not peace elves.
those look
I
really
think they're
cool.
actually quite cool.
They've got this kind of Templar looking
Yeah, I think they're definitely
vibe.
like. Yeah, there's a lot of that is the recurring art style thing. Everyone's slightly Templary, especially the elves. I kind of like it. The orcs looks vaguely deserty and Middle Eastern.
I love this one sword that's like has two prongs at the side of it. The sword trident
Oh
looking
yeah.
thing. Like that looks
Oh
very
yeah.
unwieldy and very not useful.
Oh, oh God! You should see some. You should see some of the armor in this. It's
Oh
hilarious.
no.
It's like spikes on everything. Like spikes to the point where even like the retro Chaos Marines are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's like this. Well, the sword has like spikes on it. Like, why? Why? What? It's a sword. It's a
Everything
spike. Why did you put spikes on a spike? I don't get it.
everything needs more spikes. This was the 90s, man. I don't know who decided this, but every spooky armored person had to have spikes on stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know
Imagine trying
why.
to put your armor
This
on with all
the
those
whole
spikes.
table from you walk through like tight hallways. That's gonna be fun.
This poor guy cannot get through low doorways.
Going through any.
He has to like
Oh no, yeah, yeah.
crouch to get through any
Stupid
door.
spikes on him.
It also kind of looks like he's only got one
I think
eye.
they're overcompensating for like being short. Well, it probably does because of all the spikes.
Yeah, yeah.
It essentially poked it out.
It looks like his
Yeah,
hammer has more eyes than he does.
they're going to have a look actually. Let's have a
My
check.
hammer
Oh, it
has
does.
eyes. And
That
my
is
hammer
really
has
like
3 eyes.
we're
I
not
have
Warriors of
one.
Chaos, honest. I might have found that that's the most Chaos Warrior looking not Chaos Warrior I've ever seen.
Hmm.
I reckon they were just trying to. I'm not sure if they came before Games Workshop. They had been after Games Workshop. They were trying to just do their thing.
I love this would be funny.
There's a Look, even this random orc. Um, just send it. Even this random orc has just a massive, comically big spike on his helmet that serves no purpose. Yeah, I like that look. Apart from that, that spike is ridiculous.
That spike is bigger than his head. What is? That's gonna make your head's top heavy. Imagine having to look up. You can't even because
Yeah,
there's like
that's
the
yeah.
neck
He's
guard,
not running
so you
anytime soon
can't
with
look
that
up
on.
properly because of the neck guard, and you can't. So you're gonna be
Yeah,
looking down constantly because of the neck guard and the spike. What? Poor man. I think he got the short end of the spike.
I like to think he put it on there to make himself look bigger.
He
That
wants
seems
it
like
to
a thing this setting would do.
crunk,
It does not.
crunk, mate.
Oh,
I've achieved my lifelong goal. I'm a unicorn now.
it's
I'm pretty.
but yeah. This whole like era of fantasy is it's never about being practical. It's about how scary can you look.
Yeah. Grug, mate. Look, I appreciate you've got, the horn on your helmet,
Blades on
but
everything.
we've all got horns on our helmets, right? And two, you don't have 4 legs or a snout like a unicorn. So you don't look like a unicorn. You just look like a prat with a big horn. But it's okay because we all look like prats with big horns.
You
uh,
know what? Now think on it. It's like you know how the Warhammer Fantasy orcs
mhm.
are like they have the funny horned helmets, but they're clearly meant to be like slightly silly.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
I think we're getting some lag. Yeah, these orcs are like that without any of the humor.
Yeah. All edge, no point.
Orcs in Chronopia are like the Warhammer Fantasy orcs, but they took all the humor out and
Mm.
made them like take the perfect. Oh yeah.
Uh,
I will
I'm not
say though,
gonna.
it's got some nice maps. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, really interesting book. It's more of a museum piece, I think now, but that's still worth a read.
That belongs in a museum. Anyway. So what I've
That would be a niche museum I'd own. It would just
yeah.
be the
The
museum
table.
of failed tabletop games.
So what I've got here is something a bit more recent. This is I'm gonna completely butcher this pronunciation. Cohors tactics. I think it's supposed to be Cohors Cthulhu, but the U's have been replaced by V's. But it's the other game by Modifus that isn't a licensed one. And what it basically
Okay, how do you spell
is
it before I type in something very inappropriate?
so Cohors, and then Cthulhu, but you replace the
Oh, right.
U's with V's,
Yeah.
and then tactics. Cohors Cthulhu tactics, effectively.
Oh.
I don't know why they decided to replace the U's with V's. I really don't get it.
That
Yeah, but the concept seems to
is
be
a title.
the concept seems to be
That is
Cthulhuian eldritch horror stuff
certainly
in the Roman
choice.
Empire. So you got
Mhm.
these like Roman soldier-looking guys and some. It's effectively, I
Yep.
would quote it as like Call of Cthulhu, but a war game,
I like
but
that.
the Roman
That's
Empire.
fun.
Yeah. So you got like a Roman centurion miniature, Roman legionnaires, auxiliary archers, and you got like servitors
That's
and
actually a really cool idea.
ghouls and eldritch abominations and kind of
Let's
like
have a look. How
blink
is this
dog looking
done?
things.
Let's have a look. So this was kickstarted fairly
Oh.
recently by the look of it.
But it,
Okay.
the interesting thing is it's touted as a solo and
Let's see.
co-op
Let's have a look at the
adventure
minis.
war game.
Ooh, that's that could be interesting.
And apparently
How do you play it solo?
you roll for so during there's a spawn pool. So you roll by generating 3 spawn tokens and place them on the battlefield. Missiles will enter play during the scenario. So you can roll, I think, a certain amount. Yeah, so you roll a few times to determine what you're up against, and assumedly you control them. I don't know exactly how you're supposed to control them. I assume it'd be kind of like um not actually quite sure how you're supposed to control them as if they were AI. I would assume they just attack and charge the nearest unit. I would assume. Um, yeah. At the start of each of your turns, after you've chosen the unit
Oh, the
activate
quick
before
start
they make
PDF's
any
free.
actions.
That's
Huh. Check to see if there are any tokens in the spawn pool. If there are, roll 2 dice, add them together, and look at the result on this table. If a unit spawns, remove a token from the spawn pool. If the unit you rolled is already in play, treat it as the next result. For example, if you roll a 7 and the servitors and Mom are already in play, the ghouls will spawn instead. If all Harris also already in play, you place another token into the spawn pool instead. Interesting. Once you have determined which unit will spawn, you need to see where it arrives on the battlefield. To do this, you roll for the unit's direction of approach and proximity. Okay, so to the right, you can see the direction of approach chart. A line is showing the diagram below. That seems a bit complicated. Oh, okay. So it's got like a bunch of different directions marked by dice numbers, and if you roll, say, a 6, they head south. If they roll a 2, they head
okay.
northwest. Stuff like that. So okay, and assumedly they will charge and attack whatever like thing enters their line of sight. Okay, interesting. If not, they will move into the continuing direction. That's cool. That's interesting.
It's a bit like the Doomed.
Yeah.
Um, Well, you can play that. You can play that solo, but you just have every horror has like a table of behaviours it will do on its turn.
Interesting.
But they just sort of upscaled it. Also, the miniatures look quite nice for it.
Yeah, I might actually wind up looking into getting like a Roman Legionnaire or something because the Centurion or something because the Centurion models the Centurion model that's in this prologue guide looks really cool. I like a bit of Roman stuff. It's got his cape
Yeah,
slightly billowing in the breeze. There's two
the
swords. Looks a bit grumpy, a bit pissed, a bit cross. Yeah, I can vibe with this. And they actually have like proper Roman tower shields. So, sometimes you get like, miniatures that are supposed to look like from the time period, but they don't really have the right shields usually with Roman
yeah.
stuff. It's like, give me actual phalanx
It,
shields.
it depends if we're talking Imperial Rome or Republic Rome
Yeah, I suppose.
or late Republic Rome, because late Rome they got round the shield changes depending on what era of Rome we're talking about.
Oh, fair enough. I'll let the Romans off then, but only a little bit.
The big the big square ones are the classic Imperial ones about the time of Julius Caesar.
Hmm.
So when Rome at its peak.
Peak Rome.
Then what? Then before that they had sort of literally, yeah. Um, and then after that, when things started getting really rough, they had to basically a lot of German and Germanic tribe people effectively became Romans,
Uh-huh.
and they were more Germanic people in the army than native Romans. So the shield changed to be what's normal for the average soldier.
That makes sense.
They become more oval shaped, so that's why that sort of happens later on.
I get you. But yeah, I thought there was one of the seems like a really interesting kind of concept because most of sort of Cthulhuian stuff takes place in sort of the 1920s to modern day kind of thing. You don't tend to get that kind of thematics in ancient times, which is pretty cool.
This looks quite new as well. It just got me thinking, if it's going to be ancient world, you know what would be a really good place to do Cthulhian myth stuff? Just ancient Britain. They were full about weird shamanic stuff. They believe in druids, and why would you not make that all weird and Cthulhu-y?
Sort of weird, fucked up, like half-shaped druids, like half animalized, but done wrong.
You know they've already got quite a few. They quite like these weird maggot parasite things.
Maggot sites.
Well, not sure what they are start with. They look like.
Are those the servitors?
I'll drop a photo of it because they're pretty cool.
I saw some like Roman soldiery types with
like zombie standings.
Yeah, those are the. Oh wait, no, those aren't the servitors. Oh shit, man's got become maggoty. Or it might be a particular version of the servitors, perhaps. There's just someone's painted them to look like maggots.
Oh, servitors of Mormo. I don't know who Mormo is, but
yeah, I don't know who Mormo is either. It's probably in the book somewhere. But yeah, that's the Centurion miniature I was on about as well. That's the Centurion. The cool guy. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oh, Acton Cthulhu. Okay, so more. Okay then.
Yeah. I don't know where the book for the fucking Skyrim book quick start guide has gone, but I'll find that for next time. But yeah, that's the
I'm from the PDF for free.
Yeah,
so it's just a
Cohor's Cthulhu Tactics. Yeah. Okie dokie.
Yeah, this is reminded my favourite Cthulhu miniatures.
Yeah.
I haven't touched on them, but I bought. This is for a game called Black Sun Cthulhu. I think it was basically that it's a skirmish game, but set in the 1960s, where for some reason Cthulhian beasties are real, and the US and the Viet Cong are fighting against them. So there's really funny miniatures like fishmen with AK-47s. They're amazing. I'll try and find them. Yeah. Moving on though.
What we got? Oh, do we have critical fumbles for this week?
Yes, I would say we do. Um. So yeah, I suppose the the that's one that's the I suppose bad news is often had fumbles is James Earl Jones has passed away
Yes.
in his 90s
Rest in peace,
this
rightfully
week.
so. Hmm.
Um, Famously the voice of Darth Vader. Weirdly, I know him more from the first Conan the Barbarian movie, but the villain in that is quite fun. But obviously that and Mufasa and a
Yeah.
thousand other roles because he went around. Um, I haven't seen many of his films outside the ones that were huge when I was growing up. I'll be honest though.
Hmm.
So that's definitely yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
I
a fumble
most
on the
know
part of the
him
universe because
from
he brought a lot of
Mufasa.
entertainment to a lot of people.
Yeah. Was he?
Oh yeah, the Lion King.
Yeah. The King, Lion King. Yeah, because I think he actually reprises his role as Mufasa in Kingdom Hearts 2 as well. Of all things.
He did, and in the remake,
Hmm.
bizarrely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those cases where the actual VA does actually show up in Kingdom Hearts, which is nice. Unlike fucking Robin Williams doesn't show up at all in any of the Kingdom Hearts series, which is annoying because, like, Dan Castelletta as Genie just feels a bit
Yeah,
off. Just because I know I
yeah.
can't unhear Homer.
It's yes, that's his main role, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
he done like a dozen other roles on the show with side characters, but
Mm.
that's his big role.
I get why Robin
Also,
Williams
weirdly,
didn't do it,
not too
but
long
yeah.
ago,
Hmm?
oh yeah, he don't get hypecast. He was always up for new things. He did everything,
Hmm.
and he was a stand-up man first.
Yeah.
Um, Also on a similar vein, have you heard that the actress, sorry, who played Jessie from the original Pokemon series for most of them,
Hmm.
she's passed away as well.
I heard briefly, yeah, but I wasn't quite sure was it correct. Because sometimes you see, like, on Twitter, it's like, oh, this person's died or whatever. They're trending on Twitter or something. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
what's happened? Nothing's happened. What do you mean nothing's
yeah,
happened? Yeah. But yeah, that's unfortunate.
yeah. So the voice actor, yeah, but some
Do you
voice
remember,
actors are
was it
dropping dead. That's not good.
2019 where, like,
Um,
so many famous people just died in, like, very quick succession?
mm,
I think it was like 2019. It
I do.
was like, oh boy.
Was that David Bowie? No, no, David Bowie went when I was at university.
Hmm.
So before that. But yeah, yes, old Hollywood is slowly dying, person by person. So that's not fun. Um,
Yeah. I suppose these things
but the
happen, though.
other fumble is the entire the other debacle would be um, the drama with my new monitor,
Yeah.
which has been so much fun looking for wires around the house, having to buy a new aux cable because you haven't used one in.
Hmm. Well,
We're back.
there we go.
Yeah.
So, my critical fumble for the week is, of course, Wizards again.
Why?
And it's not on purpose. So, do you
That's
remember
good.
they were going to do a Netflix or something TV show for Magic the Gathering, and now that's been cancelled. And I
Yeah,
don't really know why, to
that's
be
not
honest,
must be surprising.
because I think Wizards has been clear as mud as to why they're cancelling it. So that's great. It's like,
Okay.
yay.
I mean, a lot of series getting cancelled now as well.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, really. It's
Maybe
like,
maybe they just thought it would work.
maybe? Maybe?
I mean, I could see it being a horrible thing to write for. I mean, how do you
Yeah.
tie together everything that is supposedly canonical to Magic the Gathering?
The Omen
There's no
Paths.
neat way to do any of that.
The Omen Paths.
Yeah, but imagine having to write. Like the usual rule is you start small and expand from there.
Yeah.
Um, you can't really do that with Magic at the moment because
Well,
it's gone into
the
the
thing is
franchises
that it
and
was
there's like 1,000 different things.
yeah, the idea was is they don't tend to so most of the universes beyond stuff is not canon to the main story, basically. So while the cards exist and they're cool references, none of it's canon. At least not in the normal plot of
Oh,
things. I think it's kind of like these planes probably exist in the multiverse, but generally, like, we don't go to them and we don't talk about them. Basically. Um, and I think the idea was it was going to coincide with the new Foundation set, so it was probably going to look into the origins of like Jace and Chandra and Ajani and Liliana, etc., and like work from there, possibly with a slightly retconned origin story because Wizards is doing that lately.
yeah. It's I got again. It's how do you turn these really powerful cards into characters that are you know lord enough to be interesting for a series? I think's the bigger question.
Well, the thing is that there is actually a lot of magic lore, and there's books and stuff to it. And they do actually manage to get the power scaling relatively right most of the time. It's I don't so the silly thing is the lore for magic is there, and there is definitely scope to make a series. I just think that someone just I don't know maybe could. I reckon they probably had a bunch of writers that couldn't fucking agree on what they wanted to actually do. Because that happens several times in Magic, where one writer writes one thing, that the famous thing of one writer shipped Chandra and Nissa together, making them canon, and
Right.
then another writer wrote Chandra only likes people who are decidedly male.
Right. So yeah.
So writers can't even agree on the sexuality of a character, let alone entire plot arcs. Apparently.
Yeah, I just think it would have been a bit of a mess. Um,
Hmm.
and I wonder if they would have tried to make it for the non-Magic audience, which would
Probably.
have been probably a mistake. Which would have been a
Yeah.
mistake because you think of the reputation Magic's got, it's still kept its nerdy reputation,
Hmm.
unlike D&D a little bit. So I'm not sure how much mass appeal you'd get out of it.
Hmm. The other
Yeah, they
thing
might
they're
have gone
in.
for the full-on inbound.
Yeah, the other thing they're in critical fumble for this week is have you seen, I think it's this article by Futurism, the headline Hasbro CEO says AI will become core part of Dungeons and Dragons.
Right.
Yeah, I'm probably more excited about the playful elements of AI, he said. I play about 30 or 40 people regularly. There's not a single person who doesn't use AI somehow for either campaign development or character development or story ideas. That's a clear signal we need to be embracing it. Oh, boy.
Yeah, but there's a difference between haha funny and let's let's not pay artists at all and
Yeah, let's not pay
just
writers.
have a computer do it.
Yeah.
So why pay staff?
People will just consume product. It's fine. So he says to the community that have provenly boycotted them several times. Genius.
They sent silly horse pictures for a month and made them stop something. So yeah,
Yeah, I mean that was Konami and Yu-Gi-Oh, but I mean they sent funny. They sent the artwork of the card Greed in their comments over and over again. So same kind of principle.
oh, what was that other Magic scandal years ago? With like uh, the weird card art that looked like it was done on paint.
Yes, so they did several card artworks that looked like they were done on MS Paint. Looked like they were AI generated. They actually weren't. As it turns out, that was actually some. So there's actually kind of a nuanced controversy there because some of them they were actual art and they were actual done by an actually competent artist. It's just I think because they were using practical effects, they're using a combination of photography and like painted art. It made it look really weird. Yeah, that was that whole thing. They've also been boycotted several times for stealing art and not realizing that it's stealing art. The
Oh
whole
yeah.
OGL scandal, the whole AI art thing in the background of that one advert for Ravnica. You know, and several times, several times they have had to backtrack because oh shit, the community's really pissed. It's like you'd think after the fifth time they'd learn.
Well, there's some of the old school card art is really, really metal as hell.
Hmm.
And, like really weird metal as well. I kind of like this. Yeah,
But yeah, that yeah, Wizards of the Coast is back in Critical Fumble again, as it would turn out.
I never leave it. I tried to find, and I tried to not include them as well.
It's I don't want to include them, but things like this do bear talking about.
I know you're right. It's just I wish they would stop showing up.
Hmm.
Oh, all at this side. All these are. I've just found the list of like top 10, just like really weird card art, and there's some really gruesome ones that like okay, this is cool. Not couldn't tell you what the cards do, but the art's nice.
Yeah, some of them are like really kind of cute too. I think there's like an old MTG Ferret card as well. It's like old border. It's like really cute. It's called Jovan's Ferrets. Yeah, just little guys, just, just with a bit of wool.
Oh,
What else is there? It's kind of cute.
well, what's next? Sorry, I'm just looking at
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by looking
plagiarized
at
from
for
ninth
the
edition.
old
From the
card artwork of ferrets.
But
So, I guess we could go
plagiarized.
into our homebrew of the week. And I figured I'd make this a
Oh,
homebrew
yes.
of the week special because I've done not one, not two, not three, but 6 homebrews. They're not big ones,
Wow.
but there's
Okay.
6 of them. And they all share a very common
Okay.
theme.
Okay. Um, only picked up the two, but
Uh huh.
I've had some inspiration this week a little bit.
Hey.
I've done some more Lancer stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought I'd at least try and carry that on. But so I came up with. Remember how the last one was deliberately really boxy and clunky, and it's just the that's the cheap model.
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
this is like this is just a high end, high spec, just assault mech. That's it hits things with a sword good and shoots a
Mm-hmm.
little bit. That's it's more Gundam-y, but there's more about if you've heard of it, Zone of the Enders.
I've
That's more
vaguely
my
heard of it, yeah.
that was more. I've always liked that kind of high end. They're just really weird designs, but they're very very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So inspired by that.
Noise?
It's called the Montrose. It's basically a big, it's a fast assault mech.
Uh huh.
really high spec. Just got just arranged in just arranged sort of kind of built into the chest and a big sword,
Ooh,
and it basically uh, just uses the fact that it's stupidly fast and just gets stuck in. That's all it's meant to do. Um, but
interesting.
also, no, the only drawback to it is, in order to get people to pilot it, you end up with absolute lunatics piloting this one, or they're completely insufferable because you need to be like practically fearless to use it because the whole thing does close combat. So
Hmm.
you need someone who's mad enough to just plummet headfirst into gunfire, and just find out the chance that it might kill them, it might not. So you end up with the pilots who are completely insufferable. I mean, they're really good, but it's hard to be in a room with them, and lots of them die very, very young.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because they have a melee-based mech in a game full of really good ranged weapons. I mean, it's fast enough to avoid a lot of it
Mm.
by design, but there's only so many rounds you can dodge before it's just it's just not
Bang.
possible anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was going for, but it's still uh, still not too expensive that it can't be mass produced
Hmm.
because I designed these for NPC mechs, so you might fight a few of these.
Makes sense.
So ideally, I might build up like a whole faction's worth of mechs. So if I ever ran it and go, like, oh, okay, just pick one of these, that will do. There's an encounter.
Mm.
So that was the plan behind that. Um, Another thing I've been watching people play through a game called The Ten Bells lately. I've been really
Uh-huh.
liking that. So remember was it the Exit 8? Um, that was like it's basically like basically like a game you have to spot anomalies um
Hmm.
and things that are basically things that just don't match the first time you see the events happen.
Oh.
You do it so many times, and you manage not to die, and then you beat the game. There was a newer one called the Ten Bells, which is really good and quite spooky. Set
Okay.
in a haunted pub, but it's set in a haunted pub,
Hmm.
and the anomalies are rather than being like slightly random and weird, it's all about this underlying story about the ghost haunting the ghost of one of the woman who worked there with her husband, who is haunting the place. So I was inspired by that, and I decided to come up with a random encounter for something like Lost Mines of Fandelver, something
Hmm.
you could do on the side, um, with not so much the video gaming bits of spot the difference or anything. Just it's a proper haunted house, and it's literally just one house, so it's not a
Uh-huh.
huge area. But every room has a haunting that occurs between midnight and 3 a.m.
Ooh.
You randomly roll for it too. Sometimes they're harmless, like, oh, I don't know, um, a chair might fall over,
Mm.
the cupboards might suddenly fly open. There's no wind, or something more fun, like a pool of blood might appear from like through the doorway or something.
Hmm.
Or yeah, so every room's got something a bit like that. So the basic idea behind the haunting was it was a case of a home burglary that went right, then went wrong, then went right, then sort of went horribly wrong again. Um, short of it is a couple of bandits do what bandits do
Hmm.
and break and burgle a house. Farmer's wife's in,
Hmm.
so they don't want witnesses. Kill the farmer's wife. Farmer comes back. He's been chopping wood, just felling a few trees. Sees his dead wife. He's not obviously not happy about that. Waits the next night to see if they come back, and like idiots, they come back.
Hmm.
And though he's not really much of a fighter, he does have a big axe. So he kills one of the home invaders, is stabbed, and bleeds out in the bedroom. The other bandit limps away, presumably traumatized by the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, so the idea was that cycle of events happens every night in that house,
Oh.
as if it was and then there. Um, the kitchen is it's only got 4 rooms, but it's a little bit of variety. So let's have a look.
Mm.
Um, so like they can be harmless, like the ones or stuff like if you go into the bedroom where the brawl actually happened, you open the door and an axe immediately just flies at the person opening the door.
Oh.
Just flat 1d8 damage if it hits. It just telekinetically throws itself across the room.
Mhm.
Or it could be like something more passive, like the sound of the event going on, but it's not physically happening in front of you.
Mm.
Um, Weird cold that doesn't make any sense. Sound of footsteps following people into the room. There's the one that is the pantry, which is so. Imagine that time's passed so since that whole event happened. So I had a bit of fun with this one. So basically, all the meat that would have been, I guess, salted, I guess, but not really frozen, it's gone off. So this one's kind of nasty. So it's stuff like the smell of the rotting meat is so bad it forces a con save, or you just throw up.
Oh.
Or the food appears to be completely fresh and completely fine, and you have to pass a wisdom save to to see through to see through the illusion.
Mhm.
If you don't, you just eat rotten meat, which is always pleasant.
Yuck.
Um, or the flies that are just everywhere around the rotten meat. The sound becomes deafening.
Mm.
So if you're in the room, you're going to pass a wisdom save, or you are just deafened for the next minute because it's just that annoying.
Mhm.
Anyways, Um, here's the one: the hooks with the meat on them just suddenly fly across the room. Just sort of like more poltergeisty kind of stuff.
Mm.
Um, what else is there? And the stairway into the basement. These ones are a lot of sound-based ones, like footsteps, like um, the events of the night just replaying themselves. Um, the lights flickering. But this one is an unseen force just pushes someone down the stairs if you're not careful, which
Oh.
is so 20 feet down. So that nice round. This for low level as well. So nice round 2d6 bludgeoning damage if you fail.
Mm. Thunk.
Yep, your just ghost just runs into you, and you fall. You might just run risk of falling down the stairs, taking 2d6 damage, which is what like a level 1. Or 2. That's quite nasty.
Yeah.
So I just wanted this idea of just like a really fun little side encounter that didn't have to tie into any direct plot if you wanted it to. But just a spooky place you could investigate because players sometimes get inquisitive.
Like, oh, what's this building?
Oh yeah, just check it out. Or you might hear some townsfolk just talking about this this guy they overheard in the tavern who was really shifty. He kept talking about some strange thing he did, but he was never very clear. So then you might get around to asking and find out the whole rumor mill of what supposedly happened.
Mm.
It pointed the way where the house is, but the villagers being superstitious just don't go there because classic villagers being superstitious of everything potentially dangerous.
Yeah. Why you don't want to go down there? There'll be monsters in that hole.
There's monsters everywhere. Very few places don't have monsters.
I opened my bread bin the other day. There's a goblin in there. Bloody monster just everywhere, you know?
Like a raccoon
Fantasy goblins are fantasy raccoons.
with knives.
Just digging through your trash. Gonna have some shiny things.
Well, there was hobbits. They break into shops, rustle your crisps.
Yeah. These aren't real crimes.
So,
Uh,
so you got six today this week.
yes.
Sorry.
So the theming for these is that all items from Mirrodin specifically. So they're from
Oh,
Mirrodin, because I'm getting through my very large pile of magic stuff to convert to fifth edition, because I'm sick and tired of like the plane chase stuff being only 3.5, and it's only like the plane chase stuff was pretty good, but there's a lot missing from it. So I'm like, all right, it's time to get my fingers dirty. Not like that. Um, so there's so I did a bunch of
right.
relics today. Well, relics and items. So we got a granite shard, which is a card that exists. One of 5 shards. I need to get the other four shards, but it doesn't require attunement, and it's a common relic. So it's little weird things like this. So as an action, you may spend a level 2 slot or a level 1 slot if you have a level 1 fire element spell prepared. Make a ranged spell attack against a creature you can see within 100 feet using your spellcasting modifier or intelligence if you do not have a spellcasting modifier. This attack deals 1d10 plus 1 fire damage. This ability has 1 free charge that resets every day at dawn. So it's kind of like a free cantrip, sort of. So it's like if you're really desperate for a fire element spell, or
Right.
a attack-based fire element spell, for example, let's say you have like Wall of Fire prepared, but you don't really want to use Wall of Fire in this instance. You can use effectively effectively slightly better than normal Firebolt instead. And it has a free charge too, so you could potentially give it to your marshal or whatever, so give them a free ranged spell that once per
Okay.
day. This unusual trinket from an unknown plane has the appearance of a stone ritual dagger. While its edges have been dulled by time, the eye of the lizard folk head still glows the spark of magical power. So a little tiny basic thing, just a little small thing. We now
Right.
move on to the Trigon of Rage. Um, so the Trigons are like little, like, I guess, like tiny triangular stone tablets that have like magical effects. So again, this is an uncommon relic, does not require attunement. When this is found as loot, roll a d3. Trigon of Rage has that many charges. Similar to like how you roll for, I think it's the Ring of Wishes, how you roll to see how many wishes are left in it. So similar to this, you roll how many charges it's got.
Right.
Because this does not regenerate any charges naturally. You have to put magic into it to put charges into it. So, as an action, a creature may spend a level 2 or higher spell slot to give this item 1 charge, provided that spell level slot has a fire element spell prepared, aka it uses quote unquote red mana. As a bonus
Right.
action, a creature may use 1 charge of Trigon of Rage to increase the damage of their next successful attack by 3. Just really basic thing. It's something you could, as a wizard, use if you've got some spell slots left over at the end of the day. Just put them in this, and then hand it to your barbarian or something for the rest of the day, during the next day. It's one of the 5 types of Trigon found on Mirrodin. This Trigon abuses users with Berserk Rage and Adrenaline, making their attacks more powerful and aggressive. Just a little basic thing. Just an interesting little trinket. We have Whisper Silk Cloak. So this is a cloak for your back. It's made of mirran spider silk. This fetching white coat has an ethereal appearance. When donned and attuned, it gives the wearer the following. Attack rolls made by this creature ignore armor class increases from armor, but not from magic. So that's to say, like, okay, if someone's armor is increased by, let's say, plate armor, you ignore that, and you instead go by the creature's whatever their natural armor class would be. But if it's enchanted plate armor, you still add the plus, even if you don't count the actual armor stat. If that makes sense.
It makes sense.
This creature cannot be the target of spells or abilities, including their own and their allies. This means they cannot attune to new magical items, but will still remain attuned to existing attuned items. They cannot be healed by a targeting spell or ability, or successfully cast spells that target self. So it's a double-edged sword kind of thing of like, Okay, someone can't firebolt you, but you also can't be healed by healing word.
Okay. So that's just an emergency item, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of it's. I wouldn't say it like an emergency. It's a cloak, so it's something you know it's armor, so you might not necessarily. It doesn't necessarily make you that much better. I mean, it gives a little bit of extra bonus, but it's like at a cost because it's only a common magic item. Next we have Volshot Morningstar. It's a common magic weapon. Human slot weapon. It's
Right?
used by the Volshok Barbarians on the plane of Mirrodin. These basic spiked maces seem to inherit some of the innate fury of their crafters. This weapon gives +2 to the first attack roll and first damage roll each encounter, and it has standard mace stats. So again, with stuff like this, I was like going for like really like entry level magic items. So for like either low magic settings or just for lower level characters was the idea. We have Golem Skin Gauntlets, unarmed weapon, common. It's two-handed, technically. I mean, but basically it's a pair of gauntlets that only really work if you wear both of them. Made by Volshok
Okay.
Smiths, using
That's fair.
scrap metal scavenged by Mirrodin's many golems, these gauntlets seem to grow in power the more other attuned items the user is wearing. So this will depend on attunement rules of like what system of attunement rules you're using. If you're using a homebrew or the standard, attuned user gets +1 to their hit rolls for each magic item they're currently attuned to and wearing. So base 1, because this item is an item that requires attunement, up to, I don't know, let's say a maximum of like 6 or 7, depending. If you've got like, a magic helmet, a magic chest plate, a magic boots, a magic greaves, a magic cloak, you could maybe get up to +6. So it's one of those things that scales, but in a balanced way, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah. And of course, it has damage 1, and that's increased by class or other ability, because it's still unarmed strike. But I've also changed how this slightly works, so it can also do piercing damage. So you can change the damage type of your attacks to piercing with your unarmed strike, because it kind of has like spike. It kind of like a spikeness on the card art. So it's like, okay, but also, why shouldn't you be able to unarmed strike someone with piercing if you're using the right kind of gauntlets for it, or claws or something?
Yeah, that's fair.
And then finally, we have the Dark
What
Steel
I
Axe. Oh, go on.
was going to say, I've always done homebrew weapons in the same way, the same style of just why wouldn't you be able to stab with a long sword?
Yeah.
I do that to all my weapons.
Mm. So Dark Steel Axe it's technically pseudo magical kind of thing. So it's not like an enchanted ass weapon. It's just made of funny metal. So it doesn't require attunement. The creature, however, must have strength 14 or higher to wield normally, else at disadvantage on rolls with it, because this thing is heavy. I mean, great axes are heavy anyway, but it's a heavy, heavy great axe. It's forged in the Great Furnace of Mirrodin using the hard to smelt dark steel metal. This is the whole thing in Mirrodin lore. These axes tend to last forever, despite seemingly lacking any other magical properties. In card terms, they have the trait Indestructible, which means you can't destroy them or kill them by damage. But you can banish them and stuff. This weapon cannot be destroyed or damaged by normal means and does not erode, thus it's unaffected by any effects that would dull its combat effectiveness, such as by a rust monster, because I know rust monsters do things to weapons and make them have minuses. Has the heavy trait, and it does the standard 1d12, slashing, heavy two-handed, weight 7. Should actually be weight 8, actually, because it's slightly heavier than a normal axe. But yeah, just some basic equipment and stuff from Mirrodin, because I had a lot to get through, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of these. I might as well do a bunch of them in succession and get them out the way, because they're like little things. So yeah. Stuff to fill your magic shops with, folks.
Okay.
And
What's up next?
I think because I spent quite a bit of extra time doing a little bit of extra thing, where's me bookmark? Um, I haven't got a skirmish report, Explorers Guild, or time machine thing for the week anyway. I figured we might just call it there because it has been about an hour. Just an extra long homebrew special.
We've got about an hour. That's fair. Okay.
So thank you all for tuning in.
Okay, fair enough then. Thanks for having us again, and see you next week.
Yeah. Just figure out who to raid. As soon as my internet cooperates, there we go.
Maybe like an war sound effect for raids. That'd be quite funny.
Wah! Wah! Oh, that's a bit too loud. Wah! Something like that. Twitch seems to. There we go. The following would be a good idea. I like to raid people I follow. If that makes.
Fair enough.
Sounds like I'm stalking them, and it's really not. Look, there's a follow system, okay? Oh, Lucy is apparently playing. The tag says Skyrim, but the snapshot image is Baba is you, and we like Baba is you. Goose is stop. Baba is you. Byzantian is dev. So we'll raid Lucy. You'll raid
Goose's bird.
Yep. Goose's bird. Yep.
Goose's crab.
Everything is crab.
Crab is stop.
Become crab.
Stop is win.
Stop is win. Stop is win.
Oh yeah.
Right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is goodbye from me, Chaotic Jacksack.
You see, screw up for me. Was Anti Dev.
Bye.
That's it next week, everyone.
See you next week.